Hey everyone, Spicy Toast Gaming here. I hope you're having a great day and I hope this video can make it a little bit better. Today we're going to be updating our tier list. Several champions have been added and then all the epic relics have been updated, and so this is really affecting the tier list. Now we will be considering the epic relics, but there is a little bit of an issue with that. As you can see right here, I do have most of the epic relics, as well as the ones that I feel are the most impactful, but I am still missing a couple of the epic relics. Down here, you can see these are the epic relics that I don't have. Now, I don't think these would impact the rankings too much, but just know I'm not going to be considering these epic relics since I can't actually test them out myself. If one of these epic relics really boosts up a champion and makes them feel much better, just know that I won't be actually considering that for this tier list just because I want to be testing out all the champions myself and I don't want to speculate on what I think an epic relic might do for a champion. Also, one other small issue, as you can see, Spirit Forge right here, these consumables that give you the epic relic slots. Now I do have 2 on me right now and I have been buying these as soon as they are available, and I have been doing that for quite a while, but this is still a limiting factor on letting me test out all the epic relics that I want to. So while I have done my best to test out all the most powerful combinations that I can think of, it's possible that there is some crazy combination, especially when you put 2 or more epic relics together, that might make some champions really broken. I haven't been able to test that out just because I don't have the resources to get every champion to 3 epic relic slots. So I'm doing my best to make this tier list as accurate as I can, but just wanted you to know that there are some limits with how much I'm able to test, and that's primarily down to just the system that Riot has created for the epic relic acquisition, as well as the hassle of actually unlocking the epic relic slots. Now this tier list is going to be focusing on the champions for adventures, specifically the Aurelian Soul adventure, as that is currently the most difficult one we do have access to. Now, all the champions are able to clear all the adventures in the game, but some can do it a little bit better than others. And so we're comparing all the champions against the other champions. We are not considering the monthly challenges for this tier list. We are going to have another massive video, which should help you with picking your champions in the monthly challenges. We're trying to get that out before the end of the month, but just know for this video, we're not really considering the monthly challenges for this tier list. Also, we are considering all the champions at level 30 with 3 stars. As you see, we have all the champions unlocked, all of them starred up, and all of them leveled up. So I think the most fair comparison is just comparing all the champions when they're at their maximum power. And now the last thing before we actually move on to the tier list itself is I just want to explain the concept of power creep. Now I know many of you are probably aware of this, but power creep refers to what often happens in video games, especially multiplayer video games, where the newer released champion or hero ends up being more powerful than the champions that were released previously, or if like a card game, a new card being more powerful than a card released previously, even if they had like the same cost value. I know this used to happen a lot in League of Legends, where whatever the new champion was just going to be broken. Not really sure if that's the case these days because I don't really play League anymore. It is important though, the term of power creep in relation to tier lists, because there are going to be some champions that even if nothing happened to them and their power is the exact same, if the power level of everyone around them has increased, then they're going to feel weaker in relation. So we are looking at some of the champions, and a few actually are going down a tier, not because they necessarily changed, it's just that everyone around them got better. Now with all of that out of the way, let's go look at the actual tier list. So this was the old version of our tier list. As you see, there are about 4 champions missing. So we're going to go through and rank all of the new additions to the game, and then we're going to go through and talk about some of the champions that have increased or decreased in tiers because of either nerfs or buffs to the epic relics. Now up first, we have Elder Dragon. As far as previous rank and changes, that doesn't really apply here as he is a new champion, and he's actually going up in the A tier, which really surprised me. Now this is 100% because of the epic relics. Without epic relics, I think he'd probably be down in the C tier, but a lot of them work out quite well for him, especially Starforged Gauntlets, Disciple of Shadows, the Beast Within, even Found Fortune. There's a lot of different epic relics that actually have quite good synergies with him, so when you put 2 or even 3 epic relics on him, he feels absolutely amazing, and that's why I'm putting him up in the A tier. But again, without epics, I think he'll go down in the C tier. Next up then, we have Mordekaiser. Previous rank and changes, again, don't really matter. He's going in the B tier. Little disappointed for me because I really like Mordekaiser, but I don't think he's quite strong enough to get up in that A tier. Without epic relics, I think he'd actually be down in the C tier, but there are a couple epic relics that really help him out, specifically Starforged Gauntlets and Disciple of Shadows. Morgana is up next. Again, previous ranking changes don't really apply here, but she's going up in the A tier, and that is with or without epic relics. She is incredibly strong and has more control than anyone else in the game. Quite often when you're maxed out, the enemy is just not able to play the game at all. All their cards are shackled, constantly getting removed from your passive damage. Her games do go on very long, but she feels incredibly powerful. Aurelion Sol is up next. Again, previous ranking changes don't really matter. And of course, he is going up in the S tier. If I had any tiers above S, he would definitely go there, but I kind of think adding S plus or double S plus, I think that's kind of stupid to add a tier list, so I don't want to do that. But if there were any tiers above S, he would go there, and that's with or without epic relics. He is just obviously incredibly broken, the only 4-star champion we have in the game. Thresh is up next. Now, he was actually all the way down in the D tier previously, really felt quite rough. His star powers got reworked, and he's been feeling much better, and so he's actually going up in the B tier. As far as epic relics, Disciple of Shadows works out very well for him. If you didn't have Disciple of Shadows, he might be more in the C tier, but I think with the epic relics, he is a very solid champion, great in that B tier, rising 2 tiers from where he previously was. The reworking or buffing of his star powers really helped him out. He's in a much better spot now. Up next then, we have Talia. Now, she previously was down in the C tier, and the biggest change was Star Forged Gauntlets. They work out amazingly well on her. Being able to start at 3 mana is so good for her. You can get potentially 2 landmarks on the board round 1, in addition to the one you already start the game with, and it just makes her feel so much more consistent as a champion. And so because of that, she's actually going up into the B tier. Next up then we have Misfortune. Now, she was previously in the B tier, and while she does work with some champions, I do feel like she is a victim of power creep. I do think everyone else has just risen up and become more powerful and had more of an impact from the epic relics, so she's actually going down to the C tier. Now, previously, I would have put her probably like the bottom of B, and now I think she's pretty close to the top of C, but I just think everyone around her becoming more powerful has just made her feel even weaker in comparison. Tahm Kench is up next. Now, he was previously down in that C tier, and for him, the epic relics have really helped him out, specifically Starforged Gauntlets as well as Chosen of the Stars. Both of them work very well on Tahm Kench, make him feel much better as a champion, and so he's going up into that B tier. Next up then, Poro King. Poro King was also down in that C tier, very much like Tahm Kench. And Spirit of the Buru. This epic relic, especially now that it's a power, makes Poro King feel so much better. You can normally get your scaling star powers off in the very first round, and this really makes you feel so much stronger as a champion, so he's going up into that B tier. Teemo is up next. Now, he previously was in the S tier, and while he hasn't gotten any nerfs recently, a little while ago they did nerf all of the best relics associated with him. At that time, I thought he was still an S tier champion, and his power level hasn't really changed for many months now. However, everyone around him has been feeling much better. A lot of them can utilize epic relics, and so even though Teemo's power level hasn't really changed himself, since everyone else feels better, he is now actually going down a tier into the A tier. Little sad and disappointing, as Teemo used to be one of the best champions in the game, but really a victim to those rare relic nerfs, and then he just hasn't really gotten buffed from the epic relics. Pyke is up next, and actually the last champion we're going to talk about. Now, for him, he previously was in the A tier, and what happened was he got nerfed, put up to a 5 cost, which really hurt him, but epic relics also came in and were buffed up. So his new rank actually is also A. So even though his rank didn't change, that is very much because of the epic relics coming in and saving him. Specifically, the Beast Within is amazing for Pyke, and Packed Powder also works out quite well. Now, without those epic relics, I think that nerf would have hit him hard enough to actually drop him down to the C tier. He was feeling pretty bad after those nerfs and without the epic relics. But if you're able to put the relics on him, he feels very strong again. And so I think he actually stays in that A tier. Now, that's it for specific champions we wanted to talk about. As you see here, this is our updated tier list, added in all of the new champions. Then we have up and down arrows to indicate what champions have risen or fallen in the rankings. Again, there were some epic relics we weren't able to test out, so we look forward to updating this again in the future. But I hope this video really helped you guys out. As always, tier lists are very subjective, but I know these videos always trigger great discussions, especially down in the comments, so definitely list your comments down there. If you appreciate all of our Path of Champions content, definitely like and subscribe, and I hope you have a great day.